All right, everybody, you know, for a lot of adopted children, piecing together their family history can feel like tackling a complicated puzzle. My next guest searched for years, putting together the pieces of her own story. And recently, she discovered her long-lost sister in the most unlikely place. Please welcome Hillary. Hi, Hillary, how are you?
Good.
So, you're adopted, and you always wanted to find your biological family?
Yes, I was adopted as an infant, and ever since I can remember, I have wanted to find my biological family. Actually, in first grade, my show and tell was that I was adopted. So, I've always wanted
Oh, that was your show and tell?
Yes.
So, what prompted you to look for them?
In 2012, I became pregnant with my daughter, Stella, and that's when me and my husband, Lance, decided for health history and for her sake and for my sake, we really wanted to know for health history. And the search was actually pretty easy. I ended up finding out my adoption was an open adoption. So I was able to get a packet in the mail not too long after I started looking with my birth mother's name, last name, where she lived. And then I also found out that my birth father had passed away in 2010, but they enclosed a copy of his obituary. And in his obituary, I found out that I had a half-sister named Dawn Johnson, and I had never had a sister. It also said in that obituary that she was the Miss Loyal Cornfest Queen in 1983.
She was the what?
The Miss Loyal Cornfest Queen.
She was a Cornfest Queen?
Yes, and a queen. So I remember reading that and thinking, gosh, she must be really cool and pretty. Like, I gotta meet this girl.
So tell me more about this search. How'd it go?
Oh, Dawn Johnson is a pretty common name, I came to find out. Right away, I began searching for her name on Facebook and Google. Specifically on Facebook, I'd type in Dawn Johnson and I'd look at those tiny little pictures and see, like, does that look like me? Does that look like me? But there's thousands of Dawn Johnsons, even in Wisconsin, where I'm from. And it was not hopeless, but I kind of gave up hope. I thought, I'm never gonna find this Dawn Johnson.
So why was it important for you to find your sister?
I didn't grow up with any sisters. My mother passed away when I was 13, so I grew up with my father and my brother. And
now, these are your adoptive parents?
Yep.
Okay.
And, you know, they were great, but I always wondered, like, what it'd be like to have a sister. So when I found out I did have one, I just really needed to find her. And, you know, also to have, like, a mother figure for Stella, or a grandmother figure, because she didn't have my mom or her grandma, and I really wanted to find her. I was adamant.
Okay. So here's what we found out, everybody. Hillary searched the country for the sister that she'd never met. Turns out she didn't have to look far. When we come back, you're gonna hear the unimaginable twist to this reunion story that we have here. You don't go away, you're not gonna believe this story. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, I'm back with Hillary, who was adopted at birth and after years of searching, recently discovered that the sister she'd never met was closer than she thought. So you finally found your sister. Tell us how that happened.
I did. Last year in 2017, a couple moved in next door to us, me and my husband. We live in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and we share a driveway with the house next door, so we're very close. And my husband went over and introduced himself, came back over and said, I met the new neighbor. Her name's Dawn. She's from Greenwood, the Greenwood area. And I said, what? Like, right away I thought, oh my gosh, do you remember, like, the sister I've been searching for 5 years? And he's like, yeah, but no way. And I said, yes, you're right, no way, can't be her. And we didn't know her last name still, so we just knew Dawn Greenwood. Then 2 months later, they had a big truck came into our shared driveway, so this huge truck, and it had a big pack of shingles on it with a banner across that said Johnson, a big red banner. And I was home by myself, my heart sunk, and I thought, oh my gosh, her name's Johnson, it's Dawn Johnson. How many Dawn Johnsons are from Greenwood? It's a small, small town in Wisconsin. And I called my husband, he said, you have to ask her. I'm like, I'm not just gonna go ask her, you know? Anyway, a couple days went by, I got the courage to message her, I texted her, and I said, the first question, hi, were you the Miss Loyal Cornfest Queen of 1983? And she said, yes, why? And I said, just wondering, what's your birth dad's name? And she said, Wayne Klaus, and that was my birth father. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2010. Wow, I mean, I screamed, obviously, and I texted her and I said, we have a lot to talk about, can I please call you? And she said, sure. And so it was 9:30 at night, and I called her and I pretty much just told her that we have the same father and you're my sister. And the next, yeah, pretty crazy.
So you did this over the phone?
Yes, because she was not at the house at the time. So I couldn't just like walk across the driveway. She was not at the house. Did it on the phone. Yeah, I was talking to her, and I mean, I had known for like a little while, and she was in shock, of course. We talked for a while that night. The next morning, she showed up on my doorstep, and had flowers and a card, and said, "Welcome to the family." And I mean, it was exciting, but I was like, "Oh boy, now I have a sister that has the same driveway as me." And like, we went out and hugged in the driveway, and yeah, it's been crazy ever since.
That's crazy. Hey, listen, Hillary's sister is here. You all want to meet her? Hey, please welcome Dawn. Hey, Dawn, how you doing?
Oh.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
So this is kind of crazy. Dawn, you didn't even know you had a sister, did you?
That's correct. I actually grew up with two sisters, Renee and Dana. So I didn't even know I had other sisters out there. And when I started getting these text messages across on my phone, I thought, oh my. The first text came across where you missed Loyal Corn Fest in 1983, and I thought, oh great, somebody else is gonna give me a hard time about this. So she called, and she goes, you know how Lance said I told you that I was adopted? I said, yes. She goes, well, I know who my birth parents are. And before she could even get that out, I was putting those 3 questions together that were only in my father's obituary. I said, you and me have the same dad, don't we? And she's like, yeah, I'm your sister. I'm like, oh my God. I didn't even, she wanted to know if I was mad or upset. And I said, God, no. I said, I didn't even know you existed. So very emotional and just overwhelmed, and we're just very fortunate.
This was us.
Pretty crazy.
So what has life been like since you all reunited?
It's been a whirlwind, to say the least. Crazy, but being able to share our story all over the world pretty much now, it's just made us super close, and we are pretty much inseparable.
And the obvious thing that we didn't like about looking at the house that we were going to purchase was that shared driveway, because in Wisconsin you get a ton of snow and you don't know, is that neighbor going to take care of it, or are we going to be responsible for
Plus, you're
it?
really close, like.
And you're close. And
yeah, like.
that is close, literally 20 feet apart. So we
It's a good thing we like each other.
Yeah, we do a lot in our driveway. We actually watch the Packers and.
In the driveway.
Yes.
We bring the TV out in a table and
Oh,
watch
we getting it.
Yeah.
the Packers and the Brewers. And then we also put a table in the middle, and we cook. I cook on my side, she cooks on her side, and we bring it together and we eat our meals there.
Yeah.
Her daughter calls me Auntie Grandma.
Because she didn't really have her grandma, because my mom had passed, and so Dawn's kind of been like, she's her aunt. She's kind of been like a grandma, an aunt, a neighbor, a babysitter,
Wow.
a sister,
Yeah.
auntie grandma.
really cool.
And I just
That's
adore.
Stella. Yeah.
And me and Stella made up this little game in our driveway. We have a start and stop, finish line, and we play ready, set, go. We run up and down. She keeps me young.
Wow.